Are there any drummers in the house?
I play percussion. Because he couldn't play anything else.
Shut up. Come here, dude. Hey, man. Did you touch my drum set? I am warning you right now, if you touch my drum, I will stab you in the neck with a knife. Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Drumheads podcast. My name is Daniel, and this is episode 99 with Camellia with Beach Drum Shed. Such a cool, thing that's going on. I love seeing these new things that are popping up on Instagram. So she would go and set up her drum set at the beach and just start jamming out. And then, people would come out and hang out, and then she would have more drummers, come and just set up the drums and have shed sessions. Try to say that 3 times fast. And it's kind of grown this following. So now she has decided to start a drum off that is exclusively Instagram based. And you know me, I love Instagram. It's just the greatest. So starting tomorrow, which is October 11th, you can start making your submissions to the contest, which will run till October 31st, Halloween. So you can go to their page. They are Beach Drum Shed on Instagram, and you can see the rules. But there's great prizes. So there's prizes from Big Fat Snare Drum, K-Brakes, Spin Ball, Drum Cubes, Flam Drum Gear, so many other different companies, and who knows, there might be some more come along. So it's just great to see these little things that just start popping up on Instagram and start gaining a following, and it's great to see the drumming community coming together around such a cool idea. And it was great to hear her story. Like I said, every podcast I learned something I didn't know, and new experiences, stuff like that. And I learned that Steve Gadd started off doing military drumming, and Camellia was she served with the Navy band for 6 years, which I salute her for her service to our country, which is super great. And it was just great to hear that she got to travel the Pacific Rim, playing with the Navy band. So she's been to places like Japan, the Philippines, Australia, South Korea, just all these different countries, and getting to experience all these different cultures. It's just, it's so great to hear other people's experiences, because you learn something from it. So like I said, it was just great to hear. I hadn't had a military drummer on, was part of a military band, so that was great to hear that conversation. So again, this is why I love doing the podcast. You get to talk to just different people from different walks of life, and you get to learn from their experiences. So just thank you to Camellia for being on. So you can go follow her on all the social media. You can follow Drum Beach Shed, which that's the main page, and you can also follow her personal page as well. So links and all that will be below. But again, thank you to her, and thank you for it was a very last minute thing, so it was great to have her on to talk about the drum off. So here it is, episode 99. We got one close to 100, which is really cool. But here's episode 99 with Camellia with Beach Drum Shed. Check it out. Do you like that? Hey guys, there are multiple ways you can help out the podcast. First is you can go to iTunes and leave a positive review of the podcast. So you could put 5 stars for the podcast, also subscribing to it. So if you have a iPhone, it's super easy because you have a podcast app built into your phone. So go type in the Drumheads. We will pop up and you hit subscribe. That is one of the best ways to help out the podcast. Like I said, great reviews on iTunes, positive messages and stuff like that. Also, if you want to become a Patreon member, this is something I'm going to start pushing a little hard right now. So just go and just be, if it's $1 a month, all the money that's going to be coming into the Patreon account will be to help the podcast grow, so we can maybe pay for the staff instead of having everybody volunteer, and stuff like that. And then just to keep up with, updates with everything that goes on with doing a podcast. So if you can become a Patreon member, that would be awesome. Also, if you just want to make a donation, you can go to our PayPal account. Also, be sure to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you're already on Instagram and you've liked us there, but if you are new to Instagram, go check us out there. That's our biggest following right there. And just, thank you. So all that, Patreon, iTunes, liking, subscribing, all helps out the podcast. So thank you very much. I just want to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Regal Tip Drumsticks. Regal Tip is so awesome. They've been such a vital part of help growing this podcast. And I just want to take the time to thank them. And to be sure, if you're looking for some drumsticks, go check out our friends at Regal Tip. Go to their website, regaltip.com. You can check out all the sticks that are available. They make excellent brushes. They make excellent drumsticks. And, if you have a question, feel free to reach out to them. They are super helpful when it comes to that. So if you're looking for a certain type of stick, a certain type of length, they can help you out. And I love what they're doing with the internet drummers, you could say. It's a very collaborative community, and they've come on board, and I find that so refreshing. So I just want to thank Regal Tip again for their sponsorship. And if you're interested, just send us a message. You can also become a sponsor. But again, if you're looking for a good pair of drumsticks, go to regaltip.com and you will find yourself a collection of great drumsticks. Thanks, Regal Tip. You guys are awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drumheads podcast, and I am joined by Camellia Kies. How are you, Camellia?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I've had a good day today. It's been a
nice,
productive day and feeling good.
Sweet.
So let's talk about you have two things. You got Drum Shed, that's your Beats Drum Shed. I'm sorry. That's kind of your big thing you've been doing right now. Tell me just a little about that, how that came about.
That started back in June, so 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it kind of took off because I was practicing out at the beach by myself a lot last year, but as soon as I invited someone else to come out, another drummer that I met at school, it kind of it became a thing, and everyone kept coming up to us and like, hey, what is this? We were just out at the beach, not many people around, and people kept coming up, stopping in their cars and saying, hey, what is this? And what's the name of it? And we're like, we're just practicing. And so it started from there, and people just kept asking. And I was like, we have to come up with an actual name for it. And I just kept getting drummers, and next to me had 3-4 drummers sometimes playing on the beach. And eventually the name Beach Drum Shed formed. I think I asked we were like trying to think of it. We stopped playing. We're like, let's think of a name. Let's just think of a name. We're just like, man, we're sucking at thinking of a name. All right, let's just. Then my friend goes, hey, when's the next Beach Drum Shed? And I'm like, what did you just say? And we were like, that's what we're going to call it.
Nice. Do I've never, really played on the beach like that. Is there like noise complaints or anything like that happens, or are people pretty cool with it?
Oh, they love it.
Okay, cool.
They love it. I've been hosting some out here in Texas where I am now, in Corpus Christi, and people sometimes come up and give us money, or just,
oh, nice.
They're like, what is this?
Well,
great.
Every time I've seen a video, I'm like, I wonder if like someone's like, got pissed and just called like, the cops and be like, there's these people playing on the beach. It's really annoying, And has that ever happened? Or
no, it's never happened. Surprisingly, we thought that someone called the cops because we did hear like sirens and an ambulance. One time we were like playing out, but actually someone wound up drowning. So that's
okay.
It was quite unfortunate, but yeah. Other than that, everyone loves it. All positive feedback from everyone.
That's wonderful to hear, because you hear. If you go to the beach, you can't do you can't shoot off fireworks, you can't do things like that. So it's great to hear that you can go to the beach and just play music, and just hang out.
Yeah, it's really freeing, looking out. You see got the water in the background, and it's the sand is tough on the hardware.
Yeah, I could imagine. Everyone has that, like, I had a friend that played guitar who grew up at the beach, and he had, like, the guitar he took to the beach because, he didn't want to take his expensive ones out because they would get trashed.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So just tell me a little bit about your background as a drummer. When did you start playing drums?
I started playing drums when I was about 13. I always had an interest in it since I was about 5 years old, but I started actually playing in school until I was about 13. Started reading music and concert band, jazz band, and all that type of stuff. So from there, I started taking lessons from a guy named Miles Overton. He was in the Marching Zone Army band. And after I graduated high school, I ended up going into the Navy band. So I did about 6 years.
Oh, wow. So did you come from a musical family at all, or?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah, going to church and stuff, a lot of my cousins, they played music. So that was the influence from an early age, just seeing my family playing and stuff. But my intermediate family, my mom, dad, they don't really.
Yeah, that never happened with my family either. I'm like the one person that got the musical ability in my family. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was looking at your profile. It says you were you born in Nigeria, or did you or your family's from there?
My dad is from there.
Oh, your dad's from there. Okay.
Yeah, my mom's American, my dad's Nigerian.
Okay. Were you born in the U.S.?
I was actually born in Germany. My dad was
the military. Okay.
Yeah.
I see where it's going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So did you do a lot of, growing up in a military family, did you do a lot of traveling from, base to base?
Well, my dad, he only did one enlistment. So he just did 4 years after the Army, and he got out. So
okay.
I lived after we got back from Germany, I was probably 2 years old. We lived in New Jersey, Brunswick area.
Okay,
for about
yeah.
10 years, and then we moved to Woodbridge, Virginia, which is where my parents still live now.
Oh, okay.
And that's military from. So
yeah.
From there, I've been everywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because my mom is from a military family. She moved 16 times by the time she was 16. So,
wow.
Just popping around, up and down the East Coast of the U.S. And, it's a hard life when you do it that way. So, I was, because I saw that you were, in the Navy, so I didn't know if you came from a long line of, military family members. So.
Yeah. Not too long. My sister did Air Force and stuff, but my dad got out quick. And,
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So how was playing? So you actually played in the drum line for the Navy.
Yeah, it was so for Navy musicians and Navy bands and stuff like that, it's a very small community. It's a very small program.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Japan, it was myself and another guy who were the two drummers for a 33-person band.
Oh, wow.
So almost have to split off, and kind of he's in the big band and I'll be in the rock band, or because we gotta do all the gigs. There's only two of us.
Oh, wow.
So for marching percussion, say if you had to do a parade, the rhythm section, so piano player, guitar player, bass player would also have to play bass drum or cymbals to kind of fill that marching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
how does one become part of, the Navy band like that?
So you have to audition. Right after I finished high school, and my instructor kind of helped me through because he kind of took the same route. But you have to basically go to a recruiter, and any branch, really, all military branches have military bands. But you go to a recruiter and you say, hey, I would like to audition for the music program. Sometimes they don't know what it is. My recruiter, we have a band in the Navy. So So you like kind of have to explain it to them sometimes.
Yeah.
But
We have a band.
you do an audition, and you do an audition, and if you get accepted, you can go to boot camp within the next week or a month. Or,
Oh, wow.
For me,
Huh.
so.
Very interesting. So going back to the growing up playing drum stuff. Well, who was the first drummer that really stood out to you? You kind of identified with.
Let's see. I mean, I saw my cousin playing in church, and so he was like first. But like, who really caught my attention was Steve Gadd, because he also has that military background.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I think he was like an army drummer for a little bit, you know.
Did not know that.
So, yeah, that's kind of. I think I watched a video on him growing up, and he had like that's where he gets like his marching chops.
Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cause especially when you watch that solo with him and Dave Weckl and Vinny Colaiuta, he has that marching sound. Yeah.
So like, I love his playing. His movement when he plays too. He just, he's really feeling it.
Yeah, totally. And did you play any like garage bands or anything like that, or was it just strictly school band?
No, I did a lot of garage bands. I played in. If anyone needed a drummer, I was that person. Like I 4 or 5 different bands in high school, and the choir needed percussion. Like they're just like, "Where's Camellia?" Go get it. So I was just trying to expose myself to as many genres and various types of music as possible. Some of which I was not very good at.
What were your favorite ones to play with?
I actually enjoyed doing musicals.
Yeah.
It was very weird at first because it's like you really have to. You got to read the music. Sometimes you got to have a little chime part, and it's to cue in someone walking in. So you really got to be.
Oh yeah.
But once I got it was actually quite fun.
Yeah, I did it, and and you're in the pit, so they're like above you, which is really weird. You can hear them dancing, and you're trying to like listen to what's going on, so you, like you said, get those cues to make sure everything's on time. But it's once you really get into it, you can have a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That was a good experience for me, like in school and stuff, and just trying to expose myself to as much as I could.
And so you did you said 6 years in the Navy band?
Yep.
Okay. And then what did you do after that? What was your plan, I guess you could say?
So I got out in 2014, and my plan was to just go to school and, get my undergrad. So I'm actually going to finish that up in December.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'm getting my degree in digital media and web technology.
So that's
kind of my outlet with the whole social media and trying to design things, and I draw a little bit, so there's that too.
Oh, cool.
So
going to the you do the drum beat shed, and it catches on, so you're kind of like, maybe I should start I guess a club, or I don't know, how would you describe it, what it exactly you're doing now?
Well, I consider it to be a drumming group. Kind of wherever I go, I find drummers through Instagram sometimes. I find them on Craigslist sometimes. But just whoever is available and kind of wants to get together, wants that like interaction between other drummers. A lot of people don't get that, and I actually didn't get it either until I kind of started that, and it's really cool. Yeah. So there's like two guys I consistently play with out here in Texas since I've been here, and we've gotten better playing together. And I got signed to make it look official and stuff like that. Yeah. I like the videos they're so neat, and now you've got people posting videos and tagging you, and they're on the
Long Island. They're on the West Coast, you know, and it's such a cool thing to get that following.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think it was gonna take off. Really, it was kind of an experiment, and my goal was to get 1,000 followers by the end of the year, and I hit that in like a month, and I was like, huh. Well, people are actually interested in this. Okay?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
I mean, I hear you. Like, I started this kind of like, well, let's just see where this goes. And, you know, I'm not a professional musician. You know, I work in a medical warehouse by day. So, you know, that's the glam life, you know. And I kind of just like, let's just try this and, you know, see where it goes. And it's great to, you know, hear that that's what's, you know, going on with the drum. I want to say drum shed, but it's beach drum shed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to be Drum Beat Shed. I think I actually started Drum Beat Shed because I like forgot what we named it, and I started. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's doing well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, well, right now you're doing a drum off, which is very cool because there's not a drum off. You know, I don't know if I should name the name of the company who's not doing the drum off this year, but they decided not to do it, so there was kind of a little bit of a void of something not there, and you kind of like, let's just try this.
Yeah, that's exactly what, because I do that nameless competition, and I was a little sad, and I was like, well, you know, I could be sad about it, or I could try to do something. So I came up with that idea, and I don't know. It starts tomorrow. I kind of been reaching out to people personally, just like, hey, are you doing the beach drum shed drum off? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you even know? But like, and the people were like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. I'm like, wow, okay. So it is kind of getting around.
Well, and you know, I don't know if you've read into why they didn't do the drum off this year. Maybe we could talk about it after we get off. But there's something about it that, you know, a lot of drummers are attracted to. I know I tried it once in the past, and, you know, it was a fun experience. But, you know, there's a lot of emphasis on just, you know, crazy chops, you know, just.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was looking at your criteria of, like, you know, what you're looking at when it comes to judging, you know, and groove, I think, is on the top of the list, right?
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, and I've always said that, you know, having a good groove is more important than chops, you know, because groove pays the bills. You know, chops, you know, that's, you know, hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going off of. I was like, you know, you don't got to get up there and be super fancy and choppy, but just solid time, creativity.
Yeah, and
also part of it. So
yeah. So who's doing the judging?
Actually, it'll be me, and then it'll be the sponsors.
Oh, okay. Nice. The sponsors, nice.
Yeah, I'll pass it by them, see what they think. If they want to participate, they can. But it's gonna be based off of, not entirely based off of likes, but it's gonna be taken into consideration. But I did mention in the rules that I was trying to avoid someone posting a video of, like, you know, them not actually drumming and they get like a crap load of likes. And it's just like, yeah.
So. Well, yeah, I'm actually looking at, you know, the rules right now, and, you know, original material, which I think is, you know, it's a great idea because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll just take this video from 3 years ago and, you know, make that my post. So that's, you know, very cool. And then, you know, some of the sponsors, you know, you got some great sponsors there.
Yeah.
Love those guys. You've got Big Fat Snare Drum, K-Brakes, Lowboy Beaters, Spin Ball, Flame Gear, and is it Lawson? Cajones? You know, those are all great companies.
Drum Cubes is also in there.
Oh, Drum Cubes, nice.
Yeah.
And so did, you know, those companies will kind of be judging you know, to do the giveaways and all that. Cool.
Yeah, so I kind of reached out to them. I was really nervous about it, actually, because, just like, prepare yourself for rejection.
I hear you.
And then a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, how much do you need? Or how can I help out? And I was like, wow. I was so excited just because, like, it was just an idea, and it was really just kind of a shot in the dark. And so much positive feedback is very encouraging. It's
amazing. I recorded a podcast earlier, and we were just talking about how friendly people are on Instagram, the drummers to each other. There's not a lot of people, trolling each other or trying to, just be mean, and when someone does, they get called out on it too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like I really just got into Instagram probably like 4 or 5 months ago when the beach drum shed started to pick up. But prior to that, I wasn't really, I would use it for kind of just, hiking and looking at people's cool pictures. But yeah, you're absolutely right about the community. It's really, everyone's really nice.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience. I've had a couple of people, they'll say something kind of rude, on something I'll post, but for the most part, everything's pretty positive, and it makes you want to continue to do it, because if it was such a drag, I guess you could say, and people were just like, nah, 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 you'd be like, oh, to hell with this, kind of attitude, but it's not. You're like, oh, this is so much fun, I love talking to people, I love, reading the comments and all that. It's a blast for sure.
Yeah, I agree. That's.
So, let's talk about your gear, because I noticed one time I had posted a video, I think, of yours, and people were commenting about your drum set. So, tell us about your drum set, because it's a cool drum set for sure.
That's the. I'm assuming you're talking about the orange one.
Yes, the orange one.
Apex, my identity. I picked it up in Washington. It was originally $1,000 kit, and he sold it to me for $500.
Ah, nice.
So, yeah, it's a 4-piece. It's a maple, and it has that weird like texture. It's not textured, but it looks like it's a textured finish or wrap. It's like almost like a holographic. People always come up to it and they just like stare at it and they kind of touch it. But yeah, a lot of people love it. It's a 26-inch kick drum, so it's it gets a lot of attention.
Oh yeah, that was the comments I was. Everyone's like, oh, what kind of kick is that? And you're like, it's a 26. And people are like, what? And yeah, that's so cool. And what kind of cymbals do you rock?
Well, I use Zildjian, Meinl. I like Dan Ride, so I'm using a lot of different cymbals. Really, just whatever sounds good.
Yeah, that's that was like when I was growing up. It was always like, you can't use another cymbal company. You can't have Sabian and Zildjians touch each other. Yeah. Now it's like, no, I'll have a Zildjian, I'll have a Sabian, a Meinl, and people now are looking for the sound they want versus the brand. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly how I feel. I love Meinl, and
they do look good.
If I could get all my, it's just so expensive. If I could get a full set of Meinl, that would be awesome. But yeah, eventually I'll buy here and there when I can.
Yeah. And you also incorporate a lot of electric drums into your setups, right?
Oh yeah. That kind of started, I guess I really got into that probably like 3 months ago with my whole apartment living, But I use an SPD-30 and an SPD-SX, and they're both Rolands, but I kind of make loops, and I'm trying to like do a little bit of mixing while I'm playing the acoustic kind of setup I have going on.
Yeah, it's a really rad setup to have the mix of the acoustic drums and the electronic drums. For sure. And so when you do like the videos that are like, it looks like, are you in like a practice space when you do those videos, or? Is that your apartment?
Yeah, garage.
Oh, the garage. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's actually it's separate from the apartment, and it doesn't seem to bother anyone, which I'm happy about because a lot of previous places I've lived, people really digging it.
Yeah, I hear you. You're like, oh, they're playing drums again, you know?
Yeah. But it was really funny today. I was actually out practicing in the garage today, and this lady comes by, and she's like, you're, I don't know what you're doing. It sounds great. And I'm like, because I thought she was going to be like, can you turn it down or something? She was like, no, this is awesome. And I'm like, all right. Cool.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's funny, you think some people are just going to be rude automatically because, I've gotten plenty of like, stop, and I've had the cops come a couple of times and it's like, really? But, I think now more, people are more or less like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, this is a question I always like to ask my guests is, what is your worst gig story? People love those stories because everyone has that one gig. It's like, what happened?
Worst gig story. Oh man. Okay.
It always comes to people like, oh yeah.
I'm not in the military anymore. I still get crap for it. But so it was one of my first gigs while I was stationed in Japan, and we were going tour. So we were in the Philippines, and we were set up in a mall in Manila. And it was one of my first gigs with the big band. And we kind of, they hand out the set list prior to the start of the gig, and you get all your music in order, and, you're ready to go. So we played through like 2 or 3 songs, and I flip my page to the next song, and I click it off, and it's Georgia. So it's like a really big, and no one plays.
Oh,
so, no. Maybe they didn't hear it. Let me do it again. So I'm like, and one trumpet player goes, ooh. And they look over, they're like, you're on the wrong song.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It was horrible. Yeah, till this day, they call me Georgia for that. Like, Georgia on my mind.
That's brutal. I mean, did they just stop everything and be like, it's this song,
Yeah, basically. Like, tons of people, lots of people just in the mall, and, it's kind of just, it's all on me, I kick off the and,
no.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, man. So, and then the other question I like to ask is, what other things do you like to do besides, playing drums? What other hobbies do you have?
I just got a paddleboard like the other day, so I love being outside. If I'm not drumming outside, I'm like hiking or mountain biking, paddleboarding, snorkeling, really anything.
The exact opposite of me.
Really?
Oh, I'm an indoor person completely. I live in the mountains, and everyone's like, "Oh, you must go hiking all the time." I'm like, no, not my thing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So where are you? Colorado?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. So it's it's touristy, but it's just I like watching movies and stuff like that. So if I go outside, I like to go look at architecture, and like if you put me in like downtown Rome, oh, I'm in heaven, just walking around looking at all the old buildings and whatnot. So
awesome.
Yeah. But do you so it's with the Navy, it sounds like you traveled quite a bit. What were some of the other countries you went to?
Samoa, Thailand, Korea, South Korea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Australia, snorkeled the Great Barrier Reef, and we did a bunch of gigs there. I spent a month there on tour, actually, with the Navy.
Nice.
So that was fun. Russia. Where else? New Caledonia.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where else? Basically, just kind of all of Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I would have to get on the ship, or we'll sail to these ports and get off and play music, or sometimes we'll get to fly.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better. It's always better to fly.
Yeah. Yeah. I could imagine. Yeah, I could imagine. But yeah, traveling the Pacific Rim there, that sounds like, just a blast, getting to see all the different cultures and, really absorbing it, and then also getting to play music at the same time as well as serving our country is such a, it's like a bonus, it's like I get to do 3 things that are, super fun.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Like I never imagined it really,
Mm-hmm.
like I do remember saying maybe when I was like in high school or 15 or 16, be like, I want to play drums in Australia one day.
Mm-hmm.
And, like whoever thinks that would actually happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
I've gotten to travel to a lot of places, which is, just
Yeah.
really, really, really great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's fun, getting out of the perspective of, where you grew up and all that, and getting to experience, other people's cultures, makes you have a better appreciation for, just everybody,
That's true.
Yeah. And,
That's true.
And, who are some of the drummers that you're really into, now? Who are, are there some up and comers you're really excited about?
Right now it's Nate Smith. Like, man,
Mm-hmm,
he is just
mm-hmm.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love his feel. Any videos by him, I just have to watch. I watch him multiple times just because he's just so good. And then for chops, it's definitely Tony Royster. I've been watching him. I mean, he's not much older than me.
Yeah,
So.
I think he's my age, I want to say.
Yeah, he's probably like what?
Yeah,
30.
I'm 33. I think we were born the same year. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he's one of those guys. You're like, I remember showing my son. I was, he's trying to pick up the drums, and he gets a little frustrated, and I'm like, just keep at it. I'm like, here, let me show you this guy, Tony Royster Jr. And I'm like, he's 12 right there. He's like, all right, I give up. I'm like, oh, sorry, that's probably not the best example.
Yeah, definitely not a good example.
Like, I just set him up for failure. My bad.
Yeah, he was a monster. Like when he was, I don't know, 3, 4
I know.
years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I love that video that he did with GoPro, where it's like they're like shooting images of him like as a young kid playing drums while he's playing, at the age he was then. Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you have to go YouTube it later. It's so cool because it's like, interviews with his family, talking about, we put drumsticks in his hand and like there he went, kind of story. It's really, you're like, wow, that kid just, and to see his parents, just like nurture that, which was so cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think it was Common Ground, the DVD VHS with Dennis Chambers. Yeah, the footage they had from when he was a kid, it's really mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. It's like how does like I can't even compute the stuff he does when he was 12, let alone what he's doing now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just I had the same thought.
Like I'm just I'm going to give it up. Call it quits. So what advice would you give to a young drummer out there that's trying to start something new, because you being relatively new to the Instagram world, what would you say to a young drummer who's wanting to try something?
As far as like fundamentals, I would say definitely focus on rudiments, and in time really play with the metronome, because that's the only way you can really stay honest.
Yeah.
But rudiments have really helped my playing, and even when I give lessons here and there when I'm in a good stationary spot and not moving around too much. And that's like the foundation is, it's just not even like the hybrid room. It's just like your double stroke roll. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's clean. So
nice. Yeah. Cause, there's so many, what's great, especially right now is people will give you those answers. I remember when I was in high school, it was always it's very cutthroat. Everything was a competition, and now it's more like, let me help you. Here's, some constructive criticism or, maybe try it this way, or, oh, that sounds great. Just positive affirmation goes a long way. For sure.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So, where can people find you? Beach Drum Shed. I'll make sure I said it right.
Well, I'm in the process of kind of starting a YouTube channel for it. But
okay.
Instagram, there's a Facebook page, but Facebook and Instagram are basically the same. You just repost your Instagram stuff.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then Facebook tries to charge you for it, to promote it.
You have to pay.
But,
it's such nonsense.
Yeah. Instagram does it too, but it's more undercover. It's not like so in your face.
Yeah, it's not as. Yeah, it's not invasive. It's more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, but email. I have a beachdrumshed@gmail.com, akami.music@gmail.com, and yeah.
So Akami, is that how you said it?
Yep, Akami.
Is that kind of like your main music page, I guess you could say, as well?
Yeah, that's what I post all my personal stuff. Like I'll feature myself on the Beach Drum Shed page as well if I'm outside drumming. But yeah, my personal page is the Akami music.
Yeah,
that's pretty well too.
Oh yeah, and it's I follow both of them, and it's great to see the mix of the drumming on the beach, and then the stuff you're coming up in the garage and all that stuff. It's just it's cool to see the different perspectives of how. It's funny how environments can change the way you play.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's exactly true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like having that electronic, loops that I'm making stuff. It changes everything. Then go and I'm just by myself, or I'm with 3 or 4 other people, and we're trying to blend and create a cool sound. It's completely different playing.
For sure. Yeah, and a lot of people give a lot of hate to electronic drums. I love them. I'll sit behind one and I'm like, there's so many cool different sounds and settings, and I feel sometimes I get a little bit more creative, just flipping through, all the settings. It's just, because you could never, some of those sounds you couldn't replicate on a drum set unless you had like some really expensive studio setup, but on an electric kit, zoop, there you go. So
yeah, that's true. You flip one kit and you're a Brazilian drummer.
Yeah. Or you're doing the 808s, or you're doing the those weird distorted sounds. You're like, wow, that's weird, but it's kind of cool. Play this beat that way. So. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you being on. You're going to be episode 99.
Wow.
Woo!
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a great number.
It's a good number. And, I'm excited to see all the videos for the drum off. It's going to be fun.
Me too. Yeah. It's a lot of cool prizes, a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. All that stuff I've personally used. The only thing I've not ever played is the cajon. It's funny. I had one time I called those guys. I was doing some late night drive and I didn't want to I was already kind of sleepy. So I'm like, I need to talk to somebody. And I put up a post and I talked to one of the guys from the Lucon? Is that how you say it? Yeah.
I thought it was. Is it Lucen?
I have no idea. I'm wrong. I'm probably at both ends. But anyways,
I don't know. I said Lawson on my in my story.
Yeah.
So right.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's usually me that screws up the name. But anyways, yeah, they one of the guys like talked to me for like an hour so I wouldn't like fall asleep driving. So
Wow.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
And Low Boy Beaters, Chris and Jeremy, just great guys. They're just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I talked to. I basically, that list of sponsors was basically whoever had their phone, who had their, like, you can call on their Instagram. It's like,
yeah.
And so, like, next thing I know, I'm like talking to the guy that runs Low Boy, and I'm like, whoa, this is so cool, and he's so.
Yeah, they're so fun, and they're and generous. Wes from K Breaks is such a cool guy. Chris from Big Fat Snare Drum is such a I just love Big Fat Snare Drum. It's like I don't know how long I wanted something like that in my life, and then like where have you been?
Yeah. No, it's great. It completely changes the sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I would have a phone on my snare drum or like a towel or something to try to get that sound.
Yeah, and it's just like it's so easy just to whoop, switch them off, and because I like a poppy snare drum, so to have that thuddy snare drum when you really need it, is such a cool thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Cool.
Yeah, I use one on my 13, and I noticed a lot of people they'll have like a tom, and it'll be like a 16, but they'll have like a 13, Big Fat Snare Drum on there. So
yeah, I have the 16-inch on my 16-inch floor tom. Oh, I love it.
Oh, really? I didn't even know they make one that big.
Oh yeah, I think they go up to 18 now.
Really?
Yeah, because when at first it was just 13 and 14, and I think now they've gone all the way up from like 8, or they start at 8, maybe it's 10, but all the way to at least I think 18 or 16. I know 16 for sure, but yeah.
Wow.
So you could put them on all your toms, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Cool. Well, again, I appreciate you being on to get some promotion about the drum off, because I love these Instagram almost exclusive kind of things, because like I said, it's just a great community.
Yeah, I totally.
And I just it's hard to it's hard to fathom sometimes how nice people can be. You see so much bad stuff that goes on in the world, and you're like, oh, people suck, and then you're like, oh no, these people don't.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. When I met up with Sterling from Drum Cubes, and he talked about the same stuff. We talked about the same stuff. It's just like the drumming community is just really chill.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's nice to hear it from you, and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So.
And it keeps getting better. I was always a little hesitant at first when I started doing this. I'm like, and then now I'm like, oh, this is actually for real. This is not just a one-off. Yeah,
it's I mean, just very, very, very cool. How long has it been going? How long has the podcast been up?
It'll be 3 years end of this month. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I started the Instagram and the podcast at the same time, and the podcast took a little bit longer to figure out what it was. Don't ever go back and listen to the older episodes, because it's like me rambling about nonsense until I figure out, oh, actually talk to other drummers. But anyways, yeah, it's been a crazy ride, just talking to drummers I'd never thought I'd ever talk to in my entire life.
Wow.
And but then I grew at a great appreciation to talking to drummers of all levels. No matter if it's just beginning to start a following, or they're like a Lisa Trow who's just like exploding. So,
Yeah.
and it gives you perspective more than anything. I like having, and it also made it very a point to have a lot of female drummers on, just because I feel like there's a lot of podcasts with female drummers on, talking about what we're talking about. So that was the other goal of mine, was to make sure that was a voice that was heard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very.
Well, cool. Well, again, thank you for being on. Everybody go check out everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know. Are you on Twitter?
I am.
Okay, good.
Very
I'm so used to it. Yeah. You almost have to. It's like, oh, I guess I will. I'll put it down. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I have one on every single platform.
Yeah. Cool. Well, and so the contest runs till
October 31st. So it starts tomorrow, October 11th.
Nice.
And yeah, it'll go. So hopefully, people get a little bit of that Halloween mixed in it. Maybe get some masks.
Oh, that'd be rad. Get some cool creepy masks on a beach. Ooh. My son would love that. He's all into masks and scaring people right now. I'm like, oh, great.
How old is he?
He's 7.
Oh, nice.
So he's all into like zombies. I'm like, I don't like this kind of stuff. How are you finding out about this? He's like, YouTube. I'm like, oh, okay. Change those parameters real quick. So
wow. Very funny.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I will let you enjoy the rest of your evening while mine wraps up. Luckily everybody's asleep. I'm a night owl, so
Right.
It works out.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, cool. Well, let me hit stop on the recording real quick. So, see you guys.